Ride along each week as we share proven strategies to strengthen your business, energize your team, and create the business success you've been dreaming about. And now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Does your sales process consistently result in securing your ideal customer? Welcome to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up Podcast, where our one and only goal is to help you tune up your business so you can have the long-lasting success and fulfillment that comes from owning a solid, profitable, and sustainable business. Each week, we dive deep into a single topic relating to improving your business, improving your team engagement, or improving your relationship with your customers. Now, I realize that as I record this podcast, you're probably way more interested in celebrating the new year than thinking about how you're going to make your business work better. And I don't want to interrupt your New Year's celebration, but I do know that once the celebration is over and you've taken time to recover, you're going to start thinking about the new year that you're facing, and probably thinking a lot about how you're going to do things differently this next year than you did them this last year. So I decided to forgo the light, soft year-end celebration podcast in favor of a more hard-hitting, kick the year off with a bang kind of podcast. I hope that's okay with you. And if you're still in New Year's celebration mode, perhaps you should just hit the pause button and save this one for a few days when you're more in work mode. But when I think about making this next year better than this last year, my mind immediately goes to the part of the business that probably needs the most attention: your ability to win new customers. And not just winning any customers, but winning more of your ideal customers. Which is why my question for you this week is, does your sales process consistently result in securing your ideal customer? Here's why I think this should matter to you now more than ever. As you get to the end of each year, it's normal and expected that you should spend some time reflecting on the wins and lessons from this past year. I was doing this with a business owner earlier this week, and I was intrigued by the stories that I was hearing about his customers. As he went one by one over his customers that were closing out jobs as he neared the end of the year, I heard stories of his customers being hard to communicate with, difficult to work with, very picky and demanding, and even rude to his employees. Then I asked, what's going to make the stories you tell next year end be different? He paused for a minute and thought deeply about the question. And while he didn't have a really good answer for me, I believe I know what the answer must be. To fix your sales process, to make sure that the result is landing only those prospects who fit your ideal customer profile. Now, I'm not sure where you are with your customers as we start this new year, but I've got an idea that you, like me, would like nothing more to have more great customers this next year. And this only happens if we get our head on straight as it relates to our sales process. You see, I think the problem lies in that most of us have an upside-down view of the ideal sales process. When I ask most business owners to draw out their sales process, they very quickly begin to draw a funnel where it's wider at the top and narrow at the bottom. The funnel suggests that we dump leads into the top of the funnel, the wide end, and over time, some of the leads we dumped in fall to the bottom as new customers. Have you ever drawn your sales process to be like this? I'll bet you have, or at least it's a way you think of sales. You've got to go find lots of new leads and begin nurturing them in some way through weekly emails or social media posts or promotional campaigns. And after they hear enough about you, they will someday drop their defenses and pull out their credit card to do business with you. It's the equivalent of opening a new storefront and hiring a sign flipper to entertain the people driving by in hopes that one day they'll decide it's time to stop in and see what you have on sale. But as you can imagine, I don't think your sales process does or should work that way. In fact, I think it's totally upside down. Let me share with you a different way to picture your sales process. I'd like to suggest that your sales process is more like a vacuum than a funnel. That is, the widest part of the process is at the bottom, not at the top. Rather than the funnel approach where you dump leads into the top, with a vacuum, there's got to be suction or attraction to get a prospect caught up in your vacuum. Now, if you're familiar with helping with household chores, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm quite familiar with it because my job when we're cleaning the house is to clean the floors and vacuum the carpets. When I turn on the vacuum, I get this powerful suction that lifts the dirt, dog hair, and things that shouldn't be there from the carpet and pulls them into the container. You see, I think the suction heads on your vacuum are very similar to your marketing strategies. Your marketing strategies must have the suction or attraction to get the attention of your ideal prospects and lift them into your container, which is the equivalent of being added to your sales process. Once they're attracted to you by your marketing messages, your job is to move them step by step further up your sales vacuum until they finally have enough knowledge, understanding, and confidence in how you do what you do that they're willing to want to do business with you. I believe this process of moving them further up your sales vacuum is a series of process steps that accomplishes these critical tasks. First, you need to qualify them as a viable lead. This is where we ask a few important questions to see if they're a good fit for our services. This may include things like their preferences, their timing, their budget, and what truly matters most to them as a prospective customer. As you can imagine, it makes no sense to do business with them if they're located outside your service territory or if they're planning to spend far less than your typical services cost. You also wouldn't want to spend more time with them if they need something you don't offer or if they have a different opinion on what matters most about your industry. The qualification process is all about finding the alignment between how the prospect views your industry and how you view your industry. When there's alignment, then and only then does it make sense to spend more time moving them closer to becoming a customer. What are you doing to qualify your prospects? Secondly, as you begin to see that your prospect is qualified, you need to begin sharing value with them. This may come in the form of a cheat sheet or a guide to make a good purchase decision or a fact sheet to help educate them as a buyer. The more you help your prospects become better decision makers, the more they'll appreciate and welcome your help and guidance. It's important at this stage that your prospect understands that you want them to make the right decision, whether or not it involves them doing business with you. The best way to make sure this happens is to give them something or several somethings of real value. What are you giving your prospects that they see as real value? Thirdly, after you've shared real value with your prospects, you've earned the right to ask more about their willingness to buy from you. As Jay Levinson would say it, this is the point in the sales process where you ask your prospect to do something physical. This physical action is often the early indicator that they're ready to make a commitment. To give you a real example, I had a client who owned a 60-foot catamaran, which he used as a party venue on a large lake. As he took his prospects through his sales process, after qualifying them and giving them something of real value, he would invite them to come see the boat. He wouldn't set up a meeting in their office. He would schedule his next meeting with them at the marina on his catamaran. If the prospect balked at the idea of meeting on his boat, He knew they weren't really ready to book an event with him. But nearly every time that a prospect was willing to meet on his boat, they would get so excited about what they saw and experienced that they would book right away on the spot. Meeting on the boat was his physical something. What could your physical something be? Fourth and lastly is to package your offer as a compelling proposal. Whether it's necessary or not, it's always beneficial to put your proposal into a neat, nice, comprehensive package. I've found that when prospects are given a buttoned-up package that outlines all the details of what they're about to buy, the fear factor goes way down and their confidence level goes way up. So let me ask you, what does your offer package look like? Even if you could close the sale without a nicely packaged offer, how much more professional and polished would you look to your now new customer if you did present them with something that removed every last bit of hesitation and concern? So there you have it, a new way to design and build your sales process to ensure you more consistently and confidently land more ideal customers this next year. Stop thinking about funnels and start thinking about a vacuum. Find a clever way to qualify your prospects so you don't spend too much time with those you don't want as your customer in the long term. Give your qualified prospects real value so they can tell that you want them to make the right decision, not just a buy from you decision. Find your physical action that will let you know with certainty that your prospect is really interested in making a purchase. And package your offer in a professional, comprehensive way to eliminate any last-minute hesitation or concern. If you follow this advice, your new year will start off strong, and the next year you'll be sharing stories about how awesome your customers were because they all represented your ideal customer. Now, as I always offer, but not many of you take me up on my offer, if you have specific questions or would like to bounce around some specific ideas related to this topic, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I'd be glad to help you turn your sales process upside down so you can begin to attract the kinds of customers that will make you excited to go to work every day. And thanks for sharing this podcast episode with your fellow business owners. No one wants to go into this new year struggling to find their ideal customer. Your sharing this podcast may be the best gift they could get as we put a bow on yet another year. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss leaders modeling desired behaviors. You won't want to miss it. Meanwhile, if you have a question, suggestion, or would simply like to connect, shoot me an email at rich@tourtoprofit.com. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, find more resources at tourtoprofit.com and connect with Rich by sending a message to rich@tourtoprofit.com. Until next time, ride hard.